Hello everyone, watch this review here where they look at the nice robots in disguise Vehicon from the Transformers Prime line. Now when I saw the first edition Vehicon, I wasn't totally impressed with it, but this is one of those rare instances where they sort of revised, well actually it might be true of some of the other ones, but one of those instances where they sort of revised the character for the robots in disguise line, and it's something of an improvement. In the original first release, they had a lot of kibble on the back, but they moved that to like the legs here and a little bit on the arms supposedly, so it just looks like a much cleaner figure. I mean, functionally, not sure if it'll actually be better or whatnot. At any rate, I am something of a fan of the Vehicons. I don't know, something about the whole concept of sort of generic minions for the Transformers universe is pretty cool. Because when you have so many like known characters and stuff, they can't really be killed or anything because something about them sort of makes it more of an incentive to save them, keep them around, and for some amount of realism for anything resembling war, you have to have characters die, so that is something of a plus. But hold on a second and I'll get him out of pack. Now, I neglected to mention this before, but if you notice the TVY7, you're wondering what's the deal with that. It's because each of the figures in this wave comes with a free episode, or a DVD with a episode of Transformers Prime. It's Loose Cannons from Season 2. It's the 6th episode. I haven't seen any of Season 2 yet, so probably not going to be watching this. Not even sure how useful a one-episode DVD is in the first place. By the way, if my voice sounds weird or weirder than usual, because I'm currently using a throat mint to try to get rid of some cold or something, and then my nose is kind of running. Probably asking why bother reviewing in the first place. If I don't start doing this, I'll probably completely forget. At any rate, the vehicle mode looks really cool. That's another thing I really enjoyed about the Vehicons. They are just sort of a generally stylish thing. They drive these black cars, which honestly look pretty sinister, because whenever you see a stylish looking black car, it's almost always like government or like the mob or something. Probably not the mob, but some secret organization, so there's definitely a sort of sinister connotation there. Now, the wheels don't really move. Well, at least they don't move side to side. They're sort of directly in there, because often the wheels are sort of connected to the figure's shoulders or something, which gives them a little bit of movement, but not in this case. They're just sort of straight in there. And kind of get some movement there. And even for the fact that the wheels don't really line up properly, you kind of get a swerve, which is kind of funky. Now, it comes with a weapon. Unlike the image, it's not actually painted in. This has this really cool purple highlight and stuff on the side, and purple beam. No such luck. I'm not sure if I'll paint this one in or whatnot. Actually, it doesn't really look much like the weapon displayed there at all, does it? Yeah. I'm kind of tempted just to paint it in because it does look really cool like that. But if you want to, you can attach it to the outside of the vehicle mode. Either this side like this, or the other side kind of upside down. I don't think it really necessarily adds anything to it, but I guess it's kind of cool to display them in like a chase scene with the guns out. Though, I don't see a ton of point in displaying Transformers in their robot modes. Meh. I probably won't do the transformation. If I do, it'll be a separate video, but hold on a second and I'll take a closer look at the robot mode. Vehicon's robot mode admittedly isn't quite as cool as I thought it'd be, but there's still a lot to like about it. He stands about 5.5 inches to the top of his head. I've included the Transformers Prime wheeljack and the Generations Shockwave to give you an idea of scale here. By the way, recently learned that Shockwave has made his Transformers Prime debut, and actually he has a look very similar to that. except for it's going to be a bit larger. Can't wait to see his Voyager class figure. Not sure if it's been announced or not, but that's completely off topic. As previously mentioned, the weapon here doesn't have the color deco promised here. Beyond that, I don't know, something about this illustration just makes everything look a lot cooler. But when you sort of compare the two, you do notice it is pretty much faithful to it, other than the general issue there. First of all, you will notice that there's more of like a metallic wash or something on the promo image. I mean, I know that Hasbro kind of always has metallic wash on their promotional images, and then half the time it's missing from the actual figure, but I don't know, something about it just looks a lot cooler. For one thing, when I was looking at the photo, it looked like the sort of thing on the chest here was a lot deeper. There's a wider space, but apparently it's a sort of shallow, nice little window. Still pretty neat. The head sculpt, by the way, very cool. I do like the sort of evil looking mono eye and everything. Now, as far as things I do like about this figure, one of the biggest things is the transformation. At least vehicle to robot, it's pretty simple, straightforward. It has a few really cool, I guess, features. My favorite of which is the fact that it just sort of all folds into itself here. Like it starts off like this, and then it just folds into this, into this, into this, and then voila, that's his leg. That just strikes me as being so unbelievably cool. Of course, it looks kind of funky from the side there, but it does mean that he has incredible balance between the wider section with a good amount of weight, and then this really adjustable toe joint and forward section here. Now the weapon can be placed either with his handle in the hand like this, which looks kind of okay, but the other recommended method is to sort of clip it around his arm, so it looks like his arm sort of formed the weapon, which I think looks a lot better. Once again, I am considering just painting that in to give it a little more pop. Now I currently have the arm sort of set like this, so he has inward motion, but he has bicep rotation, so if you want to sort of face it out for some reason, you can do that. In general, I think the arms, well, the forearm up to this point just looks kind of scrawny, which is a little bit disappointing. You can see why in the illustration they choose to have it all face sideways, which gives it an appearance of depth, but practically speaking, that's not so much there. Once again, they did a pretty impressive job in terms of the whole design here, because there's really no kibble to speak of. Everything folds really neatly. The original, first, was it the first release or whatever, has like this whole section here, and that just doesn't fly. This is just a lot cooler looking. And even the fact that this looks kind of funky from the side, it's partly covered up by these side things there, so that's pretty cool. Now, if I did have one criticism about this figure, besides the 2 or 3 criticisms I already gave, I use one pretty loosely here, and that's the fact that, like many of the figures, or at least the recent ones, he does lack a waist joint, which I kind of hate. Granted, it'd probably make his transformation a little bit trickier and stuff, because you might sort of have the alignment off, but it just feels like there's something missing when you can't really rotate the character's waist or anything in terms of general posability. Other than that, in terms of color, you will notice that the black portions of the car, the exterior, has a sort of glossier plastic, which sort of has the shine promise there. You'll notice the light reflects off it and stuff, whereas the inner is more of a flat color. This, of course, is technically part of the inner, so it has more of the same flat tone. Tiniest bit of gloss, but yeah. At any rate, to just give you an idea of articulation, he's got a little up-down here at the wrist, which folds in during the transformation. There's a physical ball here at the elbow. Not a very good range. Get some in out, then some rotation, but it's going to look funky no matter how you display it. You really have to rotate the bicep here and then adjust this, I guess, second elbow joint. Sort of get things to work out. Here's another physical ball at the shoulder. Head is on a ball joint. You can also sort of sink in. It's linked to that thing on the back, so when it goes up, it sort of folds in. Which is kind of cool, because I've always been a fan of when you sort of transform, the head just suddenly pops out. I don't know, maybe it's just a little kid in me. But beyond that, we also have a physical ball down here at the hip. Looks like he has rotation, but it doesn't seem to be the case, because I don't think this is actually a separate joint. I think it's just designed to look like one. Although it looks like it's jointed, I just can't get the thing to move. No, wait, it is. Correction, it's just the other one, which apparently is stiff or something. We have a single joint here at the knee, and then we have a joint here, which technically shouldn't be out, but if you need the extra clearance, it exists. Then we have the toe joint. All in all, I think the Vehicon is a pretty cool... Did I call him a Vehicon earlier? I think I may have been calling him a Vehicon this whole review. Huh. But yeah, he's the Vehicon. At any rate, the Vehicon is actually pretty decent. I do have some gripes. I mean, granted, he's not as cool as he looks in the picture, but he's still pretty darn cool. I mean, he's got a pretty awesome looking alt mode. The robot mode, definitely up there. Especially love the head sculpt. It almost looks like he gets light piping on the top, but I don't know, he might. The eye slit is so tiny that it's hard to really see the light through it, though. I mean, all in all, pretty decent figure. A few gripes here and there, but something you probably want to buy one or two of just for your general displays. This has been a look at the Transformers Prime Vehicon. Until next time, folks, and hopefully I'm a little bit better.